took your first class, or you finished your first class. And probably you came in 1980, because the class goes over, so. She has a lot of credentials. She was actually the personal secretary, the personal assistant to Ann Meyer McKeever, later known as. And she took very good care of her as her personal assistant. I know she did, and especially in her later years when she really needed some help, she was there for her. And also other people, she has a lot of things. She wrote our first newsletter when we had one. She did that for us, and it was beautiful. She's a leader, and she's a teacher, and she's a healer. She is on the boards, the local boards here. She does a lot of work here at the center. She puts our bulletins together. She helps Kayla out a lot in the office, and along with Kathy Turpak. She's a wonderful teacher, as Ann can attest. Ann's taken some classes from her, and I have been in some classes with her, and she is wonderful, just wonderful. She's speaking today in Growing in Newness. Please help me welcome leader, teacher, inner Christ counselor, Jennifer Allen-Prather.
Oh, thank you.
You've been around a lot of years. Boy, I didn't know you were that old.
No, I'm just experienced.
Just experienced, yeah, gotcha. 81, wow.
Eternally young.
Wow.
20?
It made me
40
think about a
years.
lot of years.
40 years.
A lot of years.
Yeah.
Well, hi, everyone.
Good morning.
And everyone out there. My name is Jennifer Allen-Prather. I'm a leader, teacher, and an inner Christ counselor here at the Teaching of the Inner Christ. And I'm going to speak today on growing in the newness. And that can mean a lot of different things. It can mean expansion and expression. Growing in expanding expression. And I'm going to talk today by starting out in the Bible. In Ephesians chapter 5, verse 1. And it states, "Therefore be imitators of God as beloved children." Think of that. Imitators of God as beloved children. It is said that children, when they're very young, babies and young children, are the closest to God. It's because they're born naturally curious. They're born innocently. They explore their world by using all 5 of their senses: sight, touch, sound, smell, and taste. Have you ever seen a baby with his foot in his mouth, exploring his toes or her toes? I wish I could do that now. Babies are just naturally curious. And I think it's inherent within each of us. I can remember as a child, we had a bush with fragrant white flowers out front. And those were the days without technology. We would go outside and play. We'd actually play with each other, make up games, and explore our environment. And I saw this white flower, and it smelled so good, and I was trying to figure out why. So I picked it apart, trying to explore why I was getting this beautiful scent from this flower. I never found out, but it was fun trying to find out. I was just naturally curious. Children are born eager to learn. everything is a wonder. It was a wonder in that flower. I can remember laying with my little neighborhood kids on a kind of a slope on one of the lawns in our neighborhood, looking up at the cumulus clouds, and we would make up stories about what it looked like. And we'd wonder why things were the way they were. We questioned everything. But later on, it seemed that cues from our families, perhaps, not always, from our teachers or other adults, led us to be fearful, to feel self-conscious, to feel shy, perhaps. Judgment creeped in, self-judgment. But young children can be fearless, and we can learn a lot from them. They're so new to the world and far less burdened with preconceived ideas about people, situations, or objects that come into their environment. They don't avoid people by their looks. They're very accepting of everyone. They don't think of an object as having one particular use, like a shoe, for instance. They can make a shoe into a flower vase. They can make a shoe into whatever their imagination tells them a shoe could be, a container for something, maybe some toys. And then, try putting your foot into one of those, and then that's a little painful. If you don't know, toys have been hidden there. They can be fascinated by a box for an hour. Can we be fascinated by a box for an hour? Well, perhaps not, but we could be fascinated by something, right? And they're unself-conscious in their expression. They're fully immersed in the present moment. They see everything with an open mind of beings who are discovering new moments all the time. This gives them spontaneity, curiosity, and pure excitement about the world. Think of the excitement on Christmas morning, waking up to 5 in the morning because the children are so excited about the day. Sometimes we adults have a hard time accessing that excitement, don't we? Yet almost every spiritual path calls us to rediscover this way of seeing. Children have a lot to teach us. Have you ever watched children at play? They're so unself-conscious. If you go to a playground and watch them play, they make up stories along the way. And it doesn't matter how they look. They're having fun. I can remember going to the beach when I was just a preteen, going out into the ocean on a little raft that we rented in Pacific Beach before we had moved down here. And I had the best time of my life. I got sand in my bathing suit. I didn't care what I looked like. I didn't care. I was having so much fun. The waves just brought me in, and I'd go out and get more sand in my bathing suit. And it didn't matter. I was having a great time. And just a few years after that, I was so self-conscious about my body. I was so self-conscious about what things looked like, appeared. I wanted my peers to like me, all that stuff. So when we see children as our teachers, we automatically become more present. We have to be more present when we follow them, looking to their lead, responding to their lead. We surrender to not having an agenda. How many times have we gone somewhere with an agenda? An agenda meaning this is what we expect to happen. And when it doesn't happen the way we expect it to, are we disappointed? Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes not. But children don't have that. They're not disappointed. If somebody says something and their feelings get hurt, a minute later they're friends again. It doesn't matter to them. When we allow children to lead and play, they bring us deeper into the present moment. In this magical place, we become innocent, not knowing what will happen next. How often do we try to control events and time because we want to know what happens next? If we surrender to playing like children, or to being like children, we surrender to not having expectations or control. That can be difficult sometimes. Sometimes we feel like we need to control a situation. It's letting go into the flow. Our beautiful Reverend Marianne Kelley last week told us about Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese Buddhist monk who taught the world about mindfulness, or to be fully conscious in the current moment. He's recently passed away, but not his ideas. He knew about being in the moment. He knew about mindfulness. He believed mindfulness was the secret to true happiness and to being authentically alive. You think babies are mindful? You bet they are. They are so in the moment. I can remember my mother, who was 96 when she passed, but in her final days, she seemingly had the appearance of dementia, but she was in the moment. And she taught me to be in the moment. It didn't matter what happened 5 minutes ago, because that wasn't real anymore. And it didn't matter what was going to happen, because that wasn't real either. We can learn a lot from our elders as well. When we practice childlike curiosity and mindfulness, we actually are acknowledging that we already have all that we need right now. We're so immersed in the moment that there's no fear, judgment, self-consciousness. There's only joy, excitement, and inspiration. I can remember when I was singing a beautiful song that one of our dear reverends, Reverend Roberta Zito, sang. And it was such a beautiful song, not only for the words and the music, but the vibration that it gave out. It was called Everlasting Light, and it was from a Christmas cantata. I sang with a trio of beautiful ladies at Reverend Ann Meyer McKeever's memorial service, and we sang that song. And I can remember just letting go of everything, letting go of my ego. And because I was fully practiced in this song, I knew it very well. But I was in the moment. I sang that song because I was inspired. I felt spirit within me. I felt God coming through me as an instrument for this song, going out into the world. And it didn't matter that I was singing it. I was just chosen to be the instrument. But oh my gosh, the feeling that I felt as I was singing it was like giving birth to beauty and love and joy all at the same time. And I was nowhere to be found in that. And yet I was. And anybody who knows about singing music or playing music knows that music can be such a moving experience because it touches that spirit within us. And it brings us to the moment. And it lifts us into a new newness of being, a new consciousness. That was my mindfulness moment, one of them, but it was a powerful one. That was God. That was God. How can we nurture our childlike nature and grow and be curious? How can we do that? You ask. I may have some answers. Get out into the world. Travel. Or go camping. If you don't like bugs, go to a museum and visit bugs under a glass. Look at other cultures. I know that when I go to a gospel church sometimes just to listen to their music, I am so uplifted by their singing and by their very presence. Wonder out loud. Be curious. Ask questions like, why is the sky blue? Or whatever questions have been in your heart. Commit to learning something. Something that you think might be a little bit intimidating. I know years ago, I went to American Sign Language class and I didn't finish it, but I sure loved it because it introduced me to a new culture of non-hearing individuals. And I learned a lot about that culture by going to an actual play that was in American Sign Language as well as spoken. It was fascinating. And I grew to love these people and see their challenges. It was a stretch, but I loved it. So do something, learn something new. Play. Find a kite. If you dare, go skating, but wear knee pads and a pillow.
Right.
Watch children play. Go to a playground and just observe. Observe how present they are in the moment. And last but not least, when you go into meditation, listen to your inner Christ, your inner divinity, for that is the wisdom for you and for no one else. That is your guidance from God. That's why it's so important to meditate. And so, again, as the Bible states in Ephesians 5, verse 1, therefore be imitators of God as beloved children. Go and have a ball with life. Thank you for your time.
Wow.